Assalamu alaikum. PSG 2, Bayern 1, and PSG advance 6-5 in aggregate. And now we're going to see a pretty interesting final between PSG and Arsenal in Madrid, right? This final is taking place in Madrid. I'm a little salty that it's the fact that Real Madrid didn't make it to the final. I mean, it was predictable. I've been saying I don't think Real Madrid were even going to go that far in the UCL, and surprisingly, they made it to the quarters. So it's not about Real Madrid, but I'm just saying that since it's happening in Madrid, imagine the atmosphere if Real Madrid played in the final. Nonetheless, we're sore losers, and now here I am talking about PSG and Bayern. First of all, both teams deserve the win. Like, whether it was Bayern, whether it was PSG, both teams played very well. The stats could speak for itself, or even whoever watched the game, you guys can say it yourselves, right? I mean, both teams were aggressive. Both teams were pressing. Both teams were defending. There was rarely any mistakes from both teams. I mean, sure, if you guys want to count that one goal from PSG where found Dembele from the other side of the box, and then Dembele with a beautiful finish with that much speed and power in the ball, no goalie was going to stop that. Not a single goalie was going to stop that. But Bayern, in my opinion, the only reason why I felt like they were like kind of stuck where they couldn't finish any goals or anything is because the way PSG was just not leaving any open gaps or any open spaces. So, for instance, if you look at Bayern, the way they conceded their first goal, right, you guys can see that they were wide open on the left-hand side. And then Kvara made a run, right, and Dembele was wide open on the right side. I mean, it's all about timing, right? I felt like when it's Bayern versus PSG, I feel like the way both teams are going to score against one another is all about timing. It's all about if somebody makes the wrong run, if somebody leaves their position, whatever it is, and the other team capitalizes on that, then of course they're going to score. I mean, like I said, with Real Madrid, you guys see, like, if there's no organization the way you guys see in this team, any team can score on that team with no organization, no tactics, no chemistry or anything. You guys can see both teams, PSG and Bayern, they had chemistry. And you guys can tell by the scoreline. I mean, last week it was pretty even in terms of attacking, where it was 5-4. And now you see it's 1-1. So you guys can see that this team, they're very consistent. Both teams are very consistent. And at the end of the day, it's shout out to both teams because both of them played very, very, very good. Even though PSG did come up on top, you guys can see that Bayern did their role and Bayern was the one chasing. I mean, if you look at the momentum chart right here, you guys can see it's all filled with red. So even though PSG are the ones who scored, you guys can see that Bayern is not like Bayern didn't give them time to rest or anything. Bayern showed urgency as soon as they conceded. And listen, I love Real Madrid, so I'm going to speak about Real Madrid really quick. But comparing it to Real Madrid, there's no urgency at all, whether we concede or whether we don't concede, until they wait till the 90th minute. So that's why Bayern is going to get the praise that they deserve, because they put in the work. Their action speaks for them. They're not going to go up in the media and complain about their players or complain about teams not making runs or other teams are making more runs than us. They know they're doing their role. But there has been a problem in this game. There's only one problem in this game that I think both sides can agree on, and it's the referee. The referee has made decisions that, in my opinion, I've seen before, but not to that extent and not at that consistent basis, only up until a while ago where I seen it, right? For example, Nuno Mendes handball. For example, the handball in the penalty area. I mean, it felt like the referee had his reasons, but I don't know. The fact that it didn't take that long for VAR to intervene, it didn't take that long for VAR to look at those things, it's pretty weird to me. I think that when there's calls like that, I feel like there should be more time of it being looked at. I feel like there's more time that should be put into it for evaluation, because those type of calls is what changes games, right? The game results. Anything can happen. And the fact that the ref just kind of, maybe, for example, the Nuno Mendes handball outside the box, it looked like the other player touched it. And I know VAR can't intervene with that, but, so at the end of the day, referees are humans, I guess you can say, right? Hansi Flick said that. But there has to be more awareness. I feel like this ref lacked awareness. I feel like this referee wasn't really in or locked into the game throughout the entire 90 minutes. I feel like there's moments where he was just not looking, moments where he missed calls, right? For example, the Luis Diaz foul where Luis Diaz got the yellow card. I just don't know what was wrong with this referee. But even though this referee, let's say, made those mistakes, it's not like Bayern really gave up or Bayern was just ready to just keep complaining about the referees. I'm sure they are going to complain about the referee and some of the decisions, but the stats back them up in terms of, like, at the very least, not letting down their fans. At the very least, that's what a team or a club should do. And that's what Bayern did. And I can't say the same really as in Real Madrid. I mean, we have players, if they get whistled or whatever, they're just going to leave and they're not going to try their best. We've seen it with Mbappe. We've seen it with Vinicius. We've seen it with countless of players. And in my opinion, shout out, right, first and foremost to Bayern. But in my opinion, the true winners they're both teams, PSG and Bayern. I'm sure the Bayern fans are proud of Bayern, and obviously the PSG fans are proud of PSG. So really quick, if you look at the statistics, for example, like I said, the stats back up what Bayern did and PSG. I mean, even though Bayern dominated the ball possession with 66%, which is a lot, right, compared to the 34%, if you look at the total shots, it was only 18 to 15. So it was barely any difference, and they each had 3 big chances where both teams finished one of those big chances for each. If we look at the lineup, I'm not sure who won man of the match. I mean, Kvara, like I said, this man, look, going back to Real Madrid, all right, I'm going to keep bringing in Real Madrid in this. He got to come to Real Madrid. Like, on a real note, he has to come to Real Madrid. And yes, I know we have Vinicius Jr., but we know he doesn't work with Mbappe. If Mbappe leaves and Vinicius stays, then yes, Vinicius can't stay and we don't need Kvara. But in terms of his own individual brilliance, I really, really love Kvaratskhelia. And I hope I'm saying it. I don't know how to say his full name. I'm going to work on that. But he's really amazing. The dude is a beast, and he's magical. He knows how to get to the ball to the feet of his teammates. Or if not, he just knows how to take it himself. He knows how to dribble up. He knows how to bring the ball up. He's really fantastic at everything he does. And the way he just tracks back, the way he puts in his work ethic, it's all applaudable. You guys can round of applause for. Obviously, if you look at Dembele, the way he finished, the way he positioned himself, I was looking at that play in slow motion, and the way that Dembele realized that he shouldn't keep running and he just stopped, and then, you know, he kind of like took a couple steps back. That shows chemistry as well. I mean, you guys don't see it. For those who are Real Madrid fans, you guys don't see it with Real Madrid. In terms of our attackers, Vinicius and Mbappe, there's like such a miscommunication where both players just want to be the ones to score, where even the midfield and the defense, they kind of prioritize passing it to either Mbappe or Vinny because they want them to score. And you know, we barely rely on our midfield to even be included in the attack. But when I was watching PSG, everybody was getting included. The midfield, the defense, and especially the attackers. And the attackers were taking role and playing the defensive role, which is something that every single football club is doing right now besides Real Madrid. We don't see that enough. Real Madrid, the only player that does that is Valverde. Who else is doing that, playing it where they're attacking and playing where they're defending? It's really an issue. And not just PSG, but also Bayern. I mean, like I said, these teams really complement each other. They really, they're not the complete opposites. They're not, the complete opposites is going to be the final, which is Arsenal and PSG. But with Bayern and PSG, you guys can see they're both like kind of very similar attacking style, very similar defending, very, 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 very similar. I see a lot of bad ratings for Bayern, and in my opinion, like I said, I don't think every player should deserve that those ratings. And keep in mind, for Bob, the way they rate players is that whoever loses, right, their ratings kind of drop, and whoever wins, their ratings go up. At least that's what I think. By the way, I don't know if a lot of people are going to talk about him, but Doué was phenomenal. I mean, a lot of players were saying, not players, but a lot of the people or the media were saying how Doué just kind of dropped form, how he was just a one-season wonder kid, how he just, I guess, I don't know, just had that one phenomenal season, and that's it. We haven't really heard of him. But he kind of, this is a big stage. I mean, the semifinals of the Champions League where your team is on verge of getting eliminated, and he performed very well. I mean, like I said, Dembele, the way he presses, the way he got the goal, the way he just helps with the attack was very good. But in my opinion, the second best player is Doué because he stayed on longer than Dembele, which I'm not blaming Dembele, but he stayed longer and he was more consistent. He was slide tackling, he was attacking, he was dribbling up the ball just like Kvara. So Doué had a good game, and if it wasn't for Kvara, I think Doué should have won man of the match. And to be fair, just to be honest, right, Nuno Mendes, I love him. He's one of the best, or if not the best left back in the world. But this game wasn't his best. I mean, Olise was just toying around with him. There was times where Nuno Mendes was doing good, but I don't think it's a close to 8-point rating. I don't think it's a 8 rating. I think maybe he's in the low 7.5, like below 7.5, maybe a 7. I'm not really sure. But Nuno Mendes, he got a yellow card. I think that should have dropped his rating. I don't think he really had the best game today. Last week he did, the way he was guarding up and locking down Olise. But this game, especially with the controversial calls, I think that even he knew at some point that some of those calls could have been against him. So like I said, congratulations to both teams. But now I do want to look at a thing for next, what is it? I think it's in like 2 weeks. If we look at fixtures now, we are going to see on May 30th, which is going to be on a Saturday, I'm excited for it, PSG versus Arsenal. And now, here's what I'm expecting, right? Everybody's expecting Arsenal to be this team that plays the haram ball, and I'm not saying they're not, right? But what I'm saying is that I feel like PSG should not sleep on Arsenal. I mean, if you guys have watched a couple of games, right? Because I only watched a couple of games, not all of Arsenal games this season. But you guys should realize that Arsenal, when it's time for them to attack, they do attack. It's just they're very quick to get back on defense and form that haram ball formation. But Arsenal really, this is me being completely honest, I still don't think that PSG should be comfortable with them. Now, yes, I'm not saying that there's a chance PSG just dominates them 6-0 and then they win the Champions League. But Arsenal, it's been a while since they made it to the final, I believe. And they haven't won a trophy in millions of years. They haven't won the Champions League, right? I think it's very important for people to not sleep on Arsenal, especially PSG. And I don't think PSG is. Luis Enrique, very smart man, and he has a manager career of a legend. So I don't think he is going to be the one who sleeps on Arsenal. But I think some of the fans, some of the media, I think the favorites and the odds is going to lean towards PSG. But let's not forget, like I said, on the heat of the moment, which is a final, it's going to be in Madrid, and both teams have beaten Real Madrid, which is, the biggest club in Spain. I think the environment is going to be nice. It's going to be loud. It's going to, I don't know which the crowd is going to root for, but I do think that Arsenal is not a team to sleep on because I think, this is the thing, I'm not making predictions, but I just think that if PSG sleeps on Arsenal, we could be in for a shocker. That's all I'm going to say. But who do I have my money on? I don't bet. But who do I have my money on? I would put it on PSG. Just because they're more of an attacking team. That's their identity. They're more really the aggressors. And with Arsenal, you guys can see they're very they're like a turtle. So their shell is going to be very hard to crack. But Arsenal is they're like missiles, right? So which could crack any shell. So we just got to just see how hard the shell is and how powerful the missile is. You see, I'm trying to be wise with my words, but I'm just going to end the video here. Thank you very much for those who came along and watched the video. But let me know what you guys think about the Bayern and PSG game, and let me know what you guys think about the final. Who do you got? Who do you think is going to win? Put it all in the comments below. Thank you very much for those who follow me on all social platforms. And if you guys are not followed, make sure you do. It's at Riyal Roots on every single social media platform. And most importantly, make sure that you do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost at 400 subscribers, and it means a lot. Thank you very much, and until then, Assalamu alaikum.